Hi guys, and welcome back to the Blues Focus channel for another opposition view video. These videos seem to be doing really well at the moment, and people enjoy listening to them. So that's great for me to hear, and it's always nice to get that view kind of from the other side of the trench. So if you are enjoying the videos, let us know in the comments and drop us a like as well. It's all much appreciated. But today I'm joined by Mike from the Voices of the Vic podcast, I believe. And yeah, no, go check out their stuff. Their links will be down in the description, and I'll promote that a little bit more later on. But kind of just kicking things off. Cheers for joining us today, Mike. And I suppose just to get started, what are your overall thoughts on Watford's season so far?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. It's been a bit of an up and down season, to be honest. We were obviously favourites to go back up after coming down from the Premier League, which was a really disappointing season last season. And we with the squad that we had on paper, you probably looked at it and thought, Jesus Christ, like that's one hell of a squad. But you look at some teams that have been in the Prem in the past and got relegated, like Stoke always stick out in my mind. When they come down,
Yeah,
their squad on paper was unbelievable. Didn't quite work out for them in the end, and Leeds, it's taken Leeds a while to get back up to the Premier League. So I think it took Aston Villa pretty much 2 goes. Sorry to mention them on this podcast, but
it's all
just
right,
for
mate.
example's sake. So it's been up and down. Like Ivic come in at the start of the season, and we were told that he was going to be, this attacking manager, and we were really excited. He'd come over from the Israeli league and really, sorted their defence out. I think for Maccabi Tel Aviv, where he came from, he only conceded 10 goals all season for that team.
Flipping heck.
So, to then come over to England, yes, the standard isn't going to be exactly the same. The
Yeah,
standard's going to be a lot higher in the English league. No disrespect to the Israeli league, but he brings that winning mentality, and he's done it for a reason. So we were like, Brill,
100%.
he likes counter-attacking football, and he's brought this he's going to bring this defensive but attacking style of football over. We're not going to leak many goals, which was our main problem last season. He never really had the full sort of strength side to his disposal. So he was perhaps a bit unlucky there, but it went really sour really quickly. 1-0 wins. I mean, the game at your place this season, it wasn't great for both sides, but that was just
Yeah,
epitomised the style of football. We were winning a lot of games 1-0 through penalties. And God, I love Troy Deeney. He's one of my favourite Watford players, but he was getting a lot of stick. We only seemed to be scoring when Troy was scoring penalties. So yeah, and then Munoz come in and brought this feel-good factor, and it feels like it's taken us a bloody long time to do so, but we've finally clicked. Which is, you look at squads on paper and you think when they click they're going to be dangerous, and it's always
yeah.
when. And we've taken a while to click, and I feel that we now have clicked, and it's the right time, bang on the right time to click. And 8 wins out of the last 9, and we're absolutely flying. So yeah, probably could have done with having this run a little bit earlier in the season, so we didn't have to worry about the running towards the end of the season, because we've got the toughest running out of Swansea and Brentford. So yeah, but it's going really well at the moment. So I'm really, really enjoying in football at the moment, considering there's no fans there.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I wish I knew the feeling of what it was like to be a half decent side, but unfortunately not. I think I got my first dose of that the other day against Reading, but good result for us there. But no, I completely agree with you, and I think even when you appointed the new manager you have now, at the time it seemed very random, and it was kind of like, okay, who's this guy? I think he's done something over in Georgia. And I just,
Yes.
I was baffled at the time. I didn't understand. I could understand getting rid of Ivic because maybe things behind the scenes weren't great. So kind of, I suppose, fixing that as quick as possible. But in fairness, from what I've seen, your style of play has changed and you've been more successful. However, this new manager you have actually seems like a really nice bloke as well. Um,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
is
top bloke.
all
I think after the first win against Norwich, he had Sweet Caroline sort of blaring in the changing rooms afterwards, and he's often known
Yeah.
for his quite funky style of music, and he'll have them blasting around the changing room if we've won. But absolutely spot on, mate. He's a complete opposite to what Ivic was.
That's brilliant. I think you add something like that to a dressing room, there'll always be an upbeat kind of vibe around the place and a different kind of buzz, and that seems to have really changed your season because you look to kind of start to drift off from the top six, and now you're straight back in it and in the automatics. So no, that's brilliant, and obviously yeah, it's terrifying this weekend for us because your home form is just so good this season. I I think everyone would fear going to Vicarage Road right now. So yeah, no, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. But kind of looking at that match on Saturday, then who should Blues be looking out for on the field right now for Watford?
I don't know if it's big headed to say everyone, because we are literally, the momentum is throughout the squads, and it's
Yeah,
literally like the momentum's sky high at the moment. Like I think, if I was really, really nitpicking, I'd probably I feel bad even saying this, but probably Adam Messina would be a little bit of a weak link because he tries to do too much sometimes at left back.
yeah,
But then again, he won us a game against Forest, he won us a game against Cardiff. So, it swings and roundabouts really.
100%,
But
mate.
I'd say the real players to look out for are probably João Pedro. He's taken like a duck to water this season
Yeah,
so far. Come over from Fluminense, the same team that we got Richarlison from in
mm,
Brazil, and considering it's his first full season, he's been asked to play in one of the most physical leagues in England and in the Championship. And he's gone away and he's put 7 kilograms of muscle on. And, he's really adapted to that. And he's not afraid to drop deep, win the ball, bring others into play, get back into position himself. There was a few sort of moments earlier in the season where he would do the link up, but then he wouldn't be in the box to sort of slot home. He's now making those sort of runs, and he's getting more experience with each game that he's playing. So I would say João Pedro definitely, and then Ken Sema and Ismail Assar. But I mean, the good news for Birmingham City fans is, uh, as of right now, this second, we've still not heard anything. I've certainly not heard anything. But Sarr, he's a doubt for the game because of the injury that he picked up against Rotherham. But I would say Ken Sema.
I hope so.
Yeah, I would say Ken Sema and Zinkernagel as well. It's just everyone's playing so well at the moment. It's hard to nail down one particular player. And then at the back, we got Francisco Sierralta, who, thank God, I'm sort of he's a man mountain of a bloke, 23 years old, Chilean centre back, and he's just
Yeah.
the type of player we need when he's going to be coming up against the sort of salmon in the form of Lukas Jukovic, who's not afraid to win a header and score a header. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely a helpful asset to have then for Saturday. But I mean, some of the names you're reeling off, like what a squad, and to be talking about so many, it just shows that you're a promotion pushing side. Because you should be talking about virtually the whole squad if you're second in the league. So no, I completely understand that. And if Ismail Assar is injured for Saturday, then fantastic. That would be brilliant because he's probably out of, I mean, on paper, certainly out of your whole squad, he'd be the one I fear most. But even then, you still got a fantastic squad, and that winger lad that you mentioned, oh, foreigner, I think it's like something Hagel that you mentioned, kind of signed for you out of nowhere.
Oh,
Um,
Zinkernagel.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was it. Zinkernagel signed for you out of nowhere, and it just again, it was like your managerial appointment. I had no idea who he was, but then when you do some research, okay, this guy's actually the real deal, and then it seems to have appeared that way as well. But João Pedro, what a talent he's been this season at Watford. Still very very young as well, but that goal away at Derby sticks in the mind in particular. Beautiful strike that one. So no, it must be exciting to watch that, and it's a shame you're not there to kind of see him develop in person as well. And if he ends up anything like Richarlison, then what a career he'll have. So no, what a squad you've got there. Some of those names, fantastic. But I suppose kind of just speaking on players to possibly produce special moments and whatnot. And you mentioned Troy Deeney. I think you've had your fair share of good moments against Blues over the years. What's your favourite personal moment of Watford versus Birmingham City?
There's a tough one. We have had our fair share of good results against Blues, but when I was growing up, obviously I was talking to you, and anyone that knows the accent will know that this is a Birmingham accent. So growing up in Birmingham, Birmingham against Watford is one game I've always looked out for.
Yeah.
So over the years, when I was growing up, especially around sort of 2006 to sort of 2008, really, Blues always used to get the sort of upper hand over us. So I remember going to St Andrews on a midweek game, always sitting the away end, and I think you beat us 3-2 that night. And but most recently, I would say two games stick out in my mind. There's the 4-0 win at St Andrews for Watford in Zola's first season. 2012-13 season. I
Couldn't
think you
do
had
that
like
for us,
Jack
could he?
Butland in goal that game.
Yeah.
I can't think who else. No, I can't think who else played that game, but Jack Butland was in goal. I remember that much. And then I would probably say the home game would be the 1-0, which was the last time we played you at Vicarage Road. I was obviously in the home end, and I had a couple of mates, Birmingham City fans, who were in the away end, and I used to sit in the stand right next to the away end, so I could
Yeah.
see. I made sure I clocked them straight away, and I was like, "We better bloody win now, because if we don't win, we were staying down in Watford for the night as well." So I thought, if we don't bloody win, A, I'm going to be miserable as sin, and B, I ain't going to hear the end of it.
Ain't gonna hear the
Luckily, we
end of
won
it,
1-0.
yeah.
Craig Cathcart overhead kick.
Oh,
So
flipping heck.
luckily, it was Craig Cathcart overhead kick, and
The
it was
likeliness of
that was a
that.
crucial time for what as well. It was about this exactly, yeah. So it was a crucial time for one as well, because it was towards the end of the season. I think it was about April time actually, and we only needed like 4 or 5 more wins after that to actually get promotion, and thank God we did. So they're probably the two games that stick out in my mind for Watford Birmingham.
100%. I mean, there's one game in particular that really sticks out for me, and that is back in 2014.
I know what
Uh,
you're going to say.
yeah, we had you at home. We were 23rd in the league at the time, and you were top of the league. It just seemed like it should be a walk in the park for you, because we just lost 8-0 to Bournemouth. So, I mean, we weren't exactly favourites to win the game, but it was Gary Rowett's first home match. We go 1-0 up through a bit of a jammy Clayton Donaldson goal. Then Forestieri equalises not long after. But I tell you what, that was one of my favourite home games in recent years, because that buzz when Clayton Donaldson scored the winner with 5 minutes to go. I never forget that match. That one will stay with me for a very long time, because it was such a turning point at Blues. That's particularly that season. So yeah, no, that 2-1 will definitely live long in my memory. But I don't know whether you're there for that one. If you were, then I feel sorry for you. But it is.
I
It's what it
was.
is.
I was. I was in like the second row behind to the right of the goal, and that was another one where I was getting absolute dog's abuse at the end of the game. My phone was ringing, and they were like, "Oh, we won," but and as well, if you watch back the replay, you actually see me in the replay sort of put my head on my hands as if to say, "Oh no," and I still get tormented with that clip still to this day. But one thing I will say about that is as you said, it was Gary Rowett's first home game, and the noise in St Andrews that night. I'm only 25, so I wasn't there for the playoff 1999 season when we won on
Oh yeah.
penalties. But a lot of Watford fans, like my old man was there, and a lot of Watford fans I've spoken to and I know were there, and they've said that that was one of the most hostile atmospheres they've been in. Now, obviously, I wasn't there, but Gary Rowett first home game, the noise was deafening. As soon as you walked into the stadium,
Yeah.
I just got a vibe straight away. I thought, we're losing this tonight. Like, St Andrews was absolutely rocking that night, and I just knew that we were going to lose. And lo and behold, we did. So fair play
Yeah.
to us.
On its day, St Andrews really is just it's spine tingling, to be honest. It's crazy. That game in particular, I think that was my first full season watching Blues, because I'd been to a few significant games before that, but that was my first season ticket. And that I just that game will always stick with me, just because I'd never felt a buzz quite like that at St Andrews for a while, because it had been quite depressing for a couple of years before that. So yeah, no, the atmosphere was fantastic, and it's probably not been as good as that for a while since, other than the Derby days against Villa and stuff. But yeah, no, what a game that was. It's always great when you've got a new manager coming, because everyone wants to come to that first home game. And I tell you what, if there were fans for our game the other day with Lee Bowyer's first match in charge, what an atmosphere that would have been. Lee Bowyer said it himself. He
Yeah,
just knows the roof would have kind of blown off if there was fans in there. Um, so no, it's a shame that we weren't there for that, but it certainly cheered me up back at home, and it really gave me that kind of Gary Rowett first home game vibe against Watford, that Reading game the other day. So no, what a game it was, and that atmosphere definitely stays with me too in particular. But I suppose back on Watford a bit more. Where do you actually think you'll finish this season, then, mate? Is the big question.
well, I've had us down to finish fourth originally this season. Surprise a few listeners, and it's been quite a surprise to our listeners. But at the start of the season, I thought there's a bigger sort of rebuild job on our hands than we perhaps expect.
Yeah,
Like a couple of big teams like a couple of teams that have come down from the Prem before, they've had some sort of big rebuild jobs on their hand as well. So I thought we perhaps had a bigger sort of job on our hands than I first thought. Sorry, but dare I say, and being optimistic as a Watford fan is never a good look. But dare I say, I'm going to say that I'm going to say we're going to do it. So we're 5 points clear at the moment of Brentford, and they've got a game in hand. So even if they win that, they're still 2 points behind. And we've still got to play Brentford and Swansea. I think people will be looking at us in that running. Yes, our running is very, very scary looking, but people are going to be looking at us in that running and fearing us. So I we've still got to play Brentford and Swansea as well. So do you know what I'm going to say? I think we'll finish second, and we'll go up promoted as runners up.
I
So
love
yeah,
that
sod it.
confidence, mate.
Second it is.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people are afraid to be openly confident about their promotion season, because obviously you don't want to jinx it. But I completely agree with you. I do think that you'll finish second. I think your squad is miles ahead of the teams below you, on its day and on paper and stuff. So I do think it would make sense for Watford to finish second more than it would for Swansea or Brentford. And I think you're just a bit more consistent right now. Definitely in better form than the likes of Swansea and Brentford,
Mm.
particularly Brentford, who seem to have kind of fallen off a bit recently. And Swansea they have a couple of good results, and then they'll have a howler. So I do think I favour Watford to go up in that second spot more than the guys below you. But it's a crazy league at the end of the day. Anything can change and anything can happen, as we all know.
Yeah.
Um, but I suppose just finally, mate, to look to kind of wrap things up. What are your thoughts on Birmingham so far this season?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, under Karanka, obviously you've had your struggles, and believe me, I think me and all the other Watford fans were probably hoping that you'd maybe sack Karanka after the Watford game, or at least not appoint Bowyer until the Watford game. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I, I didn't expect him to do that poorly, to be honest. I remember actually your first game of the season against Brentford. I was in Solihull in a pub, and they had it on, and you beat Brentford, and I thought, oh, okay, Brentford are
Real
obviously
deal here.
top favourites to go up, and you beat Brentford. Exactly. Yeah, I thought, here we go.
Yeah.
Birmingham are going to be in for a run then. Obviously, it didn't quite work out that way.
No.
But yeah, I've been surprised with him. I've been massively, massively surprised with how sort of lackluster you've looked under him, and you could just tell as the weeks went on, he was not interested. He was derelict of any confidence. He was sort of the shadow of the man he was. But mate, like I said on my podcast, now you've got Lee Bowyer in. I'm a lot more sort of worried about the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Lee Bowyer has played for the club. You know what type of player he was. He was passionate. He'd fight for whatever badge he was wearing. He's won the cup, you guys. He knows what it means to play for a team like Birmingham City. So he's not going to take any crap from any of these players, basically. And he's going to install a bit of passion, a bit of fight, a bit of sort of desire into these players. And, it's
Exactly.
not a bad squad on paper looking at
Nope.
Birmingham's squad. I mean, Neil Everidge, I know he's dropped a few clangers this season, but he,
On his day, he's
he
the
was
best. He's one
probably
of the
one of
best
the
keepers.
sort of, yeah, absolutely. He was one of these sort of rising stars in the EFL before, obviously, Cardiff got promoted. I remember
Yeah.
Neil Everidge at Charlton, and he was a decent sort of keeper then as well. So, and Luka Shukovic, everyone knows what his game is.
Yeah.
Scotty Hogan as well. And that Halovic, I've not seen much of him, but his CV is very impressive.
Definitely. Yeah.
And, you know, the type of players that you've got, trying to fit as well. George Friends, I know he's perhaps maybe been overlooked a little bit, but whether he'll get a running now, another experienced player in the Championship, and so I'm definitely not looking forward to it on Saturday now. I do think our home form will sort of just about carry us over the line,
Yeah.
but I think it will be a very, very close game. A lot closer
100%.
than it would have been under Karanka, let's put it that way.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a given. I think we're definitely going to compete a lot more than we would have done if Karanka was in charge. I think, our last game, Bowyer's first game was easily our best performance of the season. Like, it was unmatchable. It was fantastic. It was proper Blues, the way that we should be playing, the way that suits us, and the style that suits the players we have. And if we play that way again on Saturday, there's no reason why we can't get anything from the game. But I suppose kind of that brings us on to predictions now quite nicely. But for me personally, I'll just put mine out there quickly. I do think we're still going to go into this game with a real buzz, and kind of be surrounded by positivity, because those players, they look changed men really. A lot of them feel like new signings the way they performed the other day. And it's energy that we've not seen all season, not even in that Brentford home game to start off the season. So no, it's fantastic. It really is. And if we can keep that up, and it's not just a bit of a one-hit wonder of new manager buzz sort of thing, then I do really think that we could possibly get a point out of the game. However, I do think that your home form is incredible this season. And I think just from that alone and where you are in the table, I think we'd see a 2-1 loss. So long as we put in a good performance and really did ourselves proud, we'd take the positives from the game, and we can still come out of it with our heads held high. So no, I'm not expecting us to pull off any magical wins, although it would be classic Blues if we did. But no, I think I'm gonna say 2-1 Watford personally, but I do think we'll put in a good display and make it really tough for you. What about you, mate? How you calling it?
Yeah, I've done a prediction for a couple of other podcasts as well, and I've gone 2-1 as well. It is going to be tightly contested. You guys are going to be up for it. A brilliant win against Reading, as you said, and sort of helped us out. Although Reading aren't going to be reaching the top two anytime soon, it's nice to
No,
bridge a bit of a gap between us and the sort of lower reaches of the playoff spots. So you did us a favour in that respect. But
no
listen, I'm,
worries.
I'm expecting a tough blue side to turn up, and you know, so I'm going to think he's going to be totally contested, but 2-1.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, mate. And I think, we spoke about it on our podcast. And I think that's the vibe we've all got. One of our lads, our host John, went for a draw in the end. He was the positive man out of us. But I'd be over the moon if we got a point from Vicarage Road, in all honesty. And I think so with the squad. But we shall see anyway. It could go anyway. It could end up finishing 5-5, 4-4, 3-3. You just never know. In this league, but hopefully it's a good game and it's not a 0-0. Although I'd take a clean sheet against Watford, to be honest. Um, but we shall see. But anyway, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the channel, and thank you for coming on at such short notice as well. And it's been great to hear from just kind of what it looks like from your point of view. But it also helps that you have that kind of Birmingham connection as well, which has definitely made this a very interesting episode of Opposition View. So really appreciate you coming on, mate.
No, that's not a problem. If only my internet was a little bit better, mate, we probably would have been able to have a little bit more of a sort of back and forth. But yeah, no, really appreciate you asking me to come on, and yeah, hopefully, good luck for Blues for the rest of the season. I'm sure they're in capable hands now under Lee Bowyer, so I'm sure you're not going to go down now.
Definitely, and I really appreciate that, mate. And honestly, don't worry about the connection. Been there myself. It's just one of them things, but it's still been a good episode and a really good listen. I'm sure the fans will still love to hear it. But yeah, no, I do think we are in certainly more capable hands than we were in. But we shall see how things progress for the rest of the season, and hopefully we can stay up. But best of luck to you boys for the rest of the season. I definitely, I think I just want. I think I want Watford to go up out of the kind of the contending lot because that Paul Robinson link, and I just think Brentford a tin pot anyway.
Yes.
And I don't really care about Swansea, so definitely want Watford to go up. Proper club, proper fans, and I think you'll get it over the line. So definitely best of luck for the rest of that. Just not no luck for tomorrow though, please. But no,
No,
we'll
thank you
see.
very much. Really appreciate it.
No worries, mate. But just guys, if you're a Watford fan, especially, I'm sure you are already subscribed to their podcast, but go check it out anyway. Link will be in the description down below. Um, and I'm sure that Mike and the lads would also appreciate any Blues fans that are interested and want to go check out their content. Please feel free. But no, thanks again, Mike, for joining us. And that's been another episode of Opposition View. And I hope you guys at home have enjoyed it as much as we have. And if you're feeling extra kind, then please go check out that Patreon link down below. And any of our other recent podcasts. I know we've just released one with Stephen Caldwell. That one's got a good response so far. So definitely go check that one out. But thanks again, guys, and see you in the next one. Keep right on.